Okay, these trig equations are going to give us a little bit of extra practice on our common trig values. So the first thing I do with these equations, as with any equations, is I'm going to clean it up. So move the 1 over, that's going to be 2 sine alpha equals 1. Move the 2 over by dividing. So we have the sine of alpha equals 1/2. And if you'd like to figure out, if you'd like to move that sine over, you could move it over by doing inverse sine. So we're looking for the sine of what angle is 1/2. Now we got to be cautious about when we're solving trig equations because there's multiple places that you might have an answer. And this will tell us where those places are. We're finding the sine of what angle is equal to positive 1/2. So therefore, we're looking for where sine is positive. So sine is positive here and here. And the next thing we've got to figure out is what value in these quadrants would give us a sine value that's equal to 1/2. So a reminder that sine is a y value. So we're looking for where y value is 1/2, and that angle would be a 30-degree angle. However, we have another angle in the second quadrant that has that same reference angle. So therefore, if this is also a 30, we know this is 180, so 30 degrees before the 180, my other answer would be 150 degrees. And what I'm looking for here is all the answers between 0 and 360 is the way we're going to solve these. Second problem, I'm going to move my negative 2 over, and that gives me cosine of beta equals negative root 2 over 2. And if you want to show you're actually doing the inverse cosine, that's fine. Or if you just want to ask yourself, the cosine of what angle is negative root 2 over 2. Now let's do this again. All students take calculus. And we're looking for where cosine is actually a negative value. So cosine is positive here and positive here. So we're looking for answers in these two quadrants. Now, a word of advice. What I do next is I actually find a reference angle. I'm going to look for an angle in my first quadrant that has a value. Ignore the negative for a second, but I'm looking for what angle has a cosine value of root 2 over 2. A cosine value is an x value, and that would be a 45-degree angle. Since I know my answer is in the second and third quadrants, I'm looking for the angles that also have reference angles of 45 degrees. Again, this is 180, so the angles that's 45 degrees before it would be 135 degrees, and 45 degrees after it would be 225 degrees. Next problem, move the 1 over, divide by 3. That gives me tan squared equals 1/3. To get rid of a square, we're going to plus and minus square root, so that's going to be the tan of I believe that's lambda maybe, equals plus and minus the square root of a fraction. To find a square root of a fraction, it can be split up. The square root of 1 on top is 1. The square root of 3 on bottom is root 3. I'm going to rationalize that so it looks more like what we're used to working with. Multiply top and bottom by root 3 gives you root 3 over 3. So we're trying to figure out where is tangent root 3 over 3. And notice it's plus and minus. So where is tangent positive or negative? That'd be everywhere. So where is tangent root 3 over 3? Let's start with our first quadrant angle. That'd be a 30-degree angle, if you remember your common trig values. So my first answer is going to be 30. That's where it's equal to one place where it's equal to positive root 3 over 3. But you've also got answers here, here, and here because it's positive or negative. This is 30, this is 30, and this is 30. So 180 degrees here. So 30 degrees before it would be 150. 30 degrees after it, or 30 degrees more, would be 210. And the last answer, this is 360. So 30 degrees before it would be 330. There's your 4 answers. Then the final one, sine squared theta equals, let's move the 1 over by adding. And that's supposed to be squared. To get rid of a square, we're going to do plus and minus the square root of 1, which is just 1. So we're looking for where is sine, positive 1 or negative 1. And sine is a y value, so here's where sine is positive 1. Here's where sine is negative 1. So my two answers are 90 degrees and 270 degrees.